Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Um, Today we have a question from Marty. He says, "Hi Mark, I love all your blogs and your YouTube channel. I thought your video on investing was particularly insightful, especially given your age and profession. Are you currently buying into any stocks? I think the market is riding high and headed for a correction, so I'm holding off on any new purchase. Thanks, Marty." Marty, first of all, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Um, so I have a little bit different view about markets. I don't really judge the market as a whole, and I think it's generally a mistake to do so, unless your investments are tied to something that follows the market as a whole, such as an index fund or something like that, where you're basically tracking the market. In general, I try to evaluate each individual security that I'm going to buy. Um, for example, you can go into needless markups, or you can go into Barney's and find a sale or a clearance rack. Conversely, you can go into Walmart and overpay for something. So, that's the same thing with the market. The market can be super high, everything can be selling very expensively, and you can really find a gem that's on sale. You just have to look a little bit harder. For example, Mosaic Corporation is that's a perfect example. Here, the market's riding super high. The Dow is about 15,200, and thanks to a supply kind of issue going on in Russia, all the stocks that are involved with potash dropped. And if you research the Mosaic company and you look at the balance sheet and you look at how healthy of a company, what a thriving company it is, and then you see the price that it's selling at, you're like, this is an incredible buy. This is a temporary disruption that caused the price of a fabulous company to drop. So even though the market is riding high, there's a great sale on that particular company, and there's several. I mean, you can find them. And also, just because the market is very low at certain points doesn't always mean that everything is a value. Everything is a bargain. You can still overpay in a down market. It's kind of like the old saying that some people know the price of everything and the value of nothing. So what I do is I basically look at each individual security that I'm buying and ask myself, am I getting good value for this particular company, regardless of what the overall market is doing? So I think price is your insulator. The price you purchase the security at is what's going to protect you from all the vicissitudes of the market, the fluctuations up and down. And of course, when the market has a huge drop, most things are going to temporarily drop. But if you've bought a great company at a good price, you're going to be safe. I mean, eventually it'll rebound and you'll still make money off of it. Now, if you buy something at a crazy price because the market is sky high and it looks like everything is going up, um, then you're just speculating that things are going to continue to go up and up and up. And I really try not to speculate. I don't like to count on my returns coming from the market going up and up and up. I like to count on my return from coming from knowing that I purchased a good company at a good price. Um, and I think that way you will make, excuse me, you can make money regardless of the market. Um, when things are really appreciating like crazy, which they've done over the past 12 months or so, you have to look a little bit harder to find good deals, and you have to make sure you're not overpaying. Um, and also, one thing to keep in mind is just because a stock is expensive um, doesn't mean that it's overpriced either. You can still buy a good company at a fair price and do well too. It doesn't have to be rock bottom, dirt cheap prices. As long as you're either getting a bargain or paying a fair price for the stock, you'll do well over time. The problem is when you pay a ridiculously high price on the on whatever it is you're purchasing and hoping that somehow the market will drive it up even further. And I think generally when you have corrections in the market, they apply to the companies that were already kind of overvalued and all of that, and that's the market's way of bringing everything back down to reality. But I think you stay pretty much immune from those kind of things if you've purchased things at an attractive price and you've gotten good value from them. And another thing is, it also, excuse me, if you have a long time span in terms of your investing lifetime, um, that plays a huge role too. You know, if you're planning on buying something and holding it for 5 years or 10 years or longer, excuse me, that kind of takes care of the fluctuations that happen in the market. I think it's very hard to time markets, so I generally look for things that guys, be quiet. Um, I generally look for things that I think if I hold on to them for 5 years or 10 years, I will be guaranteed to do well. That way, I don't have to try to excuse me, outguess the market, which is very hard to do. I don't think very many professional investors do a good job at that. But I do think that if you buy good companies and hold them for a long time, you'll do well. You know, my grandpa, for example, who taught me a ton about investing, he started buying into AT&T when he worked there in his 20s, and even into his 80s, he still had all his AT&T stock. He never sold the shares. Of course, was getting the dividends from them, and at a certain point, he stopped having the dividends reinvested. But no, the truth is, if you buy good companies and you hold them, you'll do well over time. So, to answer your question, yep, I'm still buying into things. I bought into Mosaic and Potash Corp. I did buy into American Airlines when the Justice Department decided to cause a little trouble with their merger and the share price dropped. I bought it at like 290 or something like that, and selling it 450, 460 now. So I think there's good bargains to be had at just about any time. Whether the market is up or down. So anyway, that's my 2 cents, and the advice is probably worth what you're paying for it, but I figured I'd voice my opinion anyway. So I hope you guys have a good night, and thanks again for watching my YouTube channel.